Well, hello, hi, hello there. Today I'm bringing you something completely random and different, and I hope it's interesting. I thought maybe it would be both interesting and useful because this coming weekend I'm going to a pagan gathering with Fellowship of Northern Traditions, which I am officially a fellowship steward for, which basically just means that I help moderate the Discord and I help the fellowship leaders to run the actual in-person gatherings when we do have them. So this weekend is our Midsummer gathering for our region. We have kind of oh my god, why is wording and braining so hard today? Not even that baked, I swear. But I'm in the North Central region, which is basically just the Midwestern region, or Kornheim, as I often lovingly refer to it. While I'm going through all of my things and getting them sorted and ready, I thought it would be fun to sit down and film some of that for you guys and basically just walk you through my big plastic tote of pagan-y items and miscellaneous gathering necessities that I have found helpful and useful throughout the years and that I just keep bringing with me to these events over and over, along with just a few other random miscellaneous things. So all of that being said, let me show you what is in my big plastic Rubbermaid tub of pagan items, because there are many out there like it, but this one is mine. So first off, I have in here already a box which is full of all of my candle making items, wax melter, popsicle sticks for holding the wicks in place, a big old bag of soy wax, which is conveniently meltable in the microwave, and then some assorted glass jars and things that I'm going to be cleaning up and bringing so that people can make their own little midsummer themed candles. In the past, I've made candles myself to give out as kind of like party favors or mementos of gatherings, and then I've also made some and used them for rituals in the past. And so this year, since I've been hoarding things like little glass jars to use for candles, I figured that maybe it would be fun to get everyone else involved in the process, and if people wanted to, they can pick out things to make their own little midsummer themed candles to either offer or use in rituals or just take home with them. And so along with that, I'm bringing this little thing that I ordered off the interwebs like forever and ever ago when I first bought all this candle making stuff, which is just a bunch of dried assorted flowers, which has come in very handy for doing rituals and things like that. So I'll be including that in there. My big old trusty bag of cinnamon sticks. Can never have too much cinnamon on hand at a pagan gathering, so that is handy for just burning or using in other rituals, and I've also used it in candle making, spell jars, spell bags, and that type of thing. And so it's just useful to have a bunch on hand for when you need it. In addition to that, this very much depleted and in need of restocking bag of homegrown tobacco leaves that my husband has been selecting different varieties of and growing in our backyard for a few years now, because we also, as people living on the North American continent and practicing North American style eclectic paganism, hence why we're in the Fellowship of Northern Traditions, we just find it appropriate and beneficial. I'm trying to think of the word, but yeah, it's just been overall beneficial to bring our own tobacco and offer that to the land and landvatir and ancestors and any and all indigenous and native spirits and inhabitants of the land that we're living, working, and worshiping on. So we always make sure to bring a good supply of this with us. A little flower crown that I made out of some fake flowers a while back. You know, you never know at a midsummer gathering when you're just gonna feel like being in your midsummer feminine energy and walking around wearing a good old flower crown. A little handy dandy whiteboard. I'll usually bring this and a dry erase marker just because it's come in useful at gatherings in the past for writing things like itineraries or menus or just fun little hello and goodbye messages, things like that. So North Central is definitely like the Vanier go with the flow, a little bit more chill and relaxed and type energy, but it's still useful to have things like an itinerary for the planned rituals and meals so that people know when to be around or make themselves available if they want to participate. Also always bring this little pack of colored face paint sticks, which have definitely been very useful for rituals because people usually tend to want to draw runes on their face or do different types of ritual face paint to get into that ritual mindset and just help with the energies or the themes that we're working on in different rituals and things like that. So these are really useful for things like drawing precise runes and shapes like that with, and then they also wash off really easily with just soap and water so they don't make a mess and it's easy to clean up afterward. Along with that, I'm bringing this pack of glow sticks. I mean, don't get me wrong, we do like to make merry at these gatherings and, you know, get our heathen on, at least within reason, while being respectful of the place that we're staying and any neighbors that might be in the area. But we usually try to pick isolated spots for a reason where we can drum and howl and hoot and holler to our heart's content. But that being said, there are always people who want to go wandering around on the land, take a wander, commune with spirits, have some alone time in nature, etc. And so once the sun goes down, I just like to start handing these out to people. I try to encourage people to use the buddy system for everything, even if they just want some alone time in nature, you know, to still make people aware of where they're going to be or that they're heading off for a little bit. Because we do tend to try to get properties with acreage and or woods if we can get it. And so it just makes me feel better if people have things like a glow stick on them so that if they do wander off by themselves, we kind of know where everyone's at and they're easy to find in case of, you know, heaven forbid, an emergency situation. So I just like to bring that, you know, not just for vibes, but just also for a little fun safety precaution that doesn't feel too invasive on people's privacy and or personal practices. In here I have a little altar cloth that someone in the community made, and in there I have wrapped this little handy dandy altar stand where you can set votive candles, and then also it's like a little card stand or tarot card stand. So this just really helps with making impromptu altar setups on the go. And I often do like to bring tarot decks with me to these things, and I'll pick out tarot cards that represent deity and we'll use them as a makeshift altar setup at a gathering. So that's been going with me to all these gatherings for a while now, just because we like to, you know, bring our pagan and our heathen items and have like a little communal altar space and be able to just set up some more pagan-y items in these like Airbnbs and Verbos that we're renting to get it into that heathen gathering type of atmosphere, but while also, as I said, being respectful of the space that we're staying and, you know, trying to leave everything the way it was when we got there. So we try to switch up the vibes, but keep it very demure, very mindful. Also, I'm bringing some musical instruments. such as this beautiful kalimba that was gifted to me at a gathering a while back. Because I'm not, you know, very musically talented by any means, but this is very fun and soothing and easy to play. And I like to just like sit and chill outside and make music for the land spirits and vibe with them. And then we like to do a lot of instruments and music in our rituals, especially Midsummer, because it's very high energy, light energy, and a lot of working with the Vanir and Land Vatir and also the Alfar. We've done some rituals in the past for elves and Alfar that involved a lot of playing instruments and inviting them to join us in the merrymaking. So I like to bring musical instruments that are easy to play and easy to transport. Also going to be bringing my handmade personal set of runes in this lovely handmade leather bag that someone made and gifted to me. So this was the set of runes that I made for myself when I first started going down the Norse pagan pathway. And then this jingling sound in here, wrapped up in this scarf, is this lovely set of bells that can be worn as an anklet that I got at a run fair. But this is also going to be used for ritual instrumental purposes. For some reason, I just feel like bells and chimes is something that fae and land spirits especially respond very well to, and that's also something that you will see even as far abroad as like in Shinto practices. You'll ring bells and do things like clap hands to get the attention or notice of certain spirits, especially land spirits or kami. And then I think there was also a historical text that made mention of priests of Freyr wearing bells or carrying bells during a procession for him. So that just all kind of incorporates into my own personal practice. So I picked these lovely bells up to bring and wear during these types of rituals, and so I'm very excited to put them to use at this Midsummer gathering because I will be doing an initial opening Land Vatir ritual with my husband on the first night, which is something that we traditionally always do at these to open our gatherings with and make sure that the land spirits and, as I said, like native indigenous spirits of all types are being acknowledged first and foremost. I'll also be doing some very specific Freya, Vanir type things at this gathering in particular, and finally getting to lead some of those like I've been wanting to for a while now. So yeah, I will literally be there with bells on for this one, as the saying goes. Along with that, I usually bring this scarf that I think I found on Etsy, and I like to wear it for Freya specific things because it has this beautiful hawk feather pattern on it, which reminds me of her falcon cloak, her falcon feather cloak, and it's very light for the summer months, so it's not too hot to wear during rituals. Yeah, a lot of these things I've just picked up in miscellaneous places over the past few years, and they all kind of seem very discombobulated and just like random trinkets, but even just things like this scarf have ritual and symbolic significance to me. Another musical instrument is this wooden flute, and then in that I will be wrapping my little singing bowl here. I like to bring this with me since it's so small and easily transportable, just to do some sound cleansing in the spaces where we're at as a less invasive cleansing method, or just to incorporate into different meditations and rituals that we may do. And then I like to bring this fun Crown Royal grab bag of just different little star and moon shaped gemstones that I picked up at crystal shops local to me just as a fun little gift grab bag for all the attendees. Alright, these last few things I'm probably going to throw into my travel altar, which I've shown you in a couple videos in the past. I made a couple little rune spoons, as I like to call them. I just bought like little wooden spoons off Amazon and wood burned them with different runes and patterns, and I was giving those out at gatherings. So I have a couple of those left that I'll just probably throw in the bottom of my travel altar. I picked this up at Viking Fest when we went last year, a beautiful little handmade knife in its own little leather sheath that I can use just as a little ritual knife. It's a cute little Amy-sized knife with an antler or wood handle. Has a good hand feel. I like that it has this little tang there so you don't slip on it if you need to shank someone. But no, this will be a nice little wearable ritual belt knife. I did pick up these beautiful turtle brooches with a connecting chain. If you look really close, they do almost seem to have like a little bird pattern on them. And birds definitely remind me of Freya a lot, along with cats. When I saw this set with the included chain, you know, this is traditional Norse garb for females back in and pre-Viking era, and they would be worn on the apron like that or as a cloak pin. So I bought these, again, you know, not just for shiny decorative purposes, but you know, symbolically they tie into my Freya worship. And then I do have my fox fur pelt that I like to bring and occasionally wear as ritual garb, and so I thought that these, being such a large heavy pin closure, would be able to go through that fur easily without damaging it too much, and that the chain closure would work really well for being able to wear my fox fur as ritual garb. Yeah, there you have it, guys. My fun little impromptu pack with me for a Midsummer gathering video, and I will definitely try to take some footage at the gathering to share with you guys. You know, we tend to not fully film a lot of the rituals because they're very personal and private to a lot of people, and a lot of times you just kind of have to be there to experience it. And I will also leave a link in the description box down below for our website, Fellowship of Northern Traditions. I believe it's northerntraditions.org. And also you can join the Discord through there and stay even more up to date on gathering planning that way, but you do not have to be a Discord member to just stay up to date through the website on when we're planning and hosting different gatherings and meetups and things like that. So it's a fun way to just stay connected with your fellow pagans across the country and across the globe. So I'm gonna leave this one off there, and until next time, stay classy.